John. Thank you, Carol. That's what we're discussing, whether it's acceptable to have a day off or time off work because your pet died. Susie Fife, for instance, all still in Cornwall, says, I was more upset when my first Labrador died than when my husband left me. I was very lucky. I went to Capital Radio when I was 12 or 13 to do a slot called their Young DJ slot. Kenny Everett had this little slot inside another show on a Sunday. Kenny Everett was my hero. I looked around the station, I just thought, this is what I want to do. When your pet fruit fly dies, does that count? It is sad, but Ben Fogle should get over it. Dean Harris in Weston-super-Mare, what do you make of that? I was a bit of a rebel when I was a teenager, so all I wanted to do was be in a band and be on the radio. That's essentially it. And then as I got through school and did my O-levels and my A-levels, my parents said, you really should go to university. So they wanted me to try and go to Oxbridge, and I didn't really want to. So they said, look, why not go to Durham, because Durham is great. And so I put my name down for that, and I got accepted, and really pleased I took their advice. The whole business of being a student in Durham was very much about complete immersion in real life in the Northeast, and you really can't buy that. It was fantastic. I studied is a loose term. I was officially studying English literature with philosophy subsid. I learnt to love poetry while I was there, and actually, funny enough, that might be the most important thing to... I remember just one day there was scaffolding outside my bedroom window at Hatfield, and I went out on these planks and up to the roof, which I probably shouldn't have done. But over the afternoon on the roof, I read the whole of Milton's Paradise Lost. And I now look back and I realise I'll never have another day like that again. Okay, just stay with us, John.
Your beloved pet is going to die.
All right, John in Newquay, what do you say to this? By the time I was at Durham, I thought that maybe playing records on the radio wasn't a very good idea. Kind of that's hugely ironic now, I suppose. But so I thought, well, journalism is the thing, because that actually is a really serious grown-up media career. And I started to do lots of newspaper writing and stuff. And I'm really grateful to Durham for the fact that they had this student newspaper, Blatternut newspaper, which was actually very high standard. And I was firstly news editor, then I was editor of it. And all the people on it, by the way, have gone into media careers. So they've all done really well. I do remember on the student newspaper just the care that was taken. Once a fortnight, we'd all have to be in there for 24 hours to put the thing together. It took forever to do it. And just the amount of care that was taken by all of us to do this thing to a high standard. There was not a single computer in the building, as far as I could tell. That the closest we had to it was an electric typewriter. So, you know, that when we had a computer problem, it meant the ribbon in the typewriter needed replacing. But it was great, it was real journalism. Paul Smith is in Lymm, in Cheshire, and says, my cat has been missing for around 6 weeks. Started as a news trainee in 1987. 2 years where you're kind of shown the riches of the BBC, but you mustn't touch anything. Then the Today programme as a reporter, which was enabled me to see the world a bit. Then Westminster political correspondent, in which job I probably grew up and understood political reporting. Then Africa correspondent, which is the first one that made me cry. And then Newsnight presenter. Newsnight was brilliant but difficult for me. And then one day I wash up here and I hit a button and play Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen, and I've arrived in a different world. And I suppose I look back and I think, thank Durham for it, because I think it gave me the sense of, probably just the sense that you can be what you want to be. You know, you can actually, why not give it a go? And it even had a bit of a trickle down to my brother, funny enough, who's a comedian. He didn't go to university, but he said, and I realised after this might not have been a compliment, but he said it was watching you doing what you did made me realise that anyone can do anything. Time off if your goldfish dies. I've got 80 in my pond, and a cat and a hamster as well. Thank you for your company. Lots to think about today. BBC Radio 2, online, on digital radio. It's a funny job, this, on the radio or on television, because you do end up sometimes having to, well, meet a Prime Minister, and sometimes have almost a paid argument with a head of state. You know, interviewing is contact sport. And I've often thought that you need a bit of confidence to do it. And I think in the end I got a lot of it from Durham because of just being around quite feisty, self-confident people who sort of know who they are, you know, and you quite quickly start to know who you are. And that's really important in life, to just build yourself and build your confidence. I went to Durham to get a doctorate, which is just an honorary thing. I was in the cathedral, this amazing building, these enormous columns going right up to the sky almost. As I sat there waiting to get this degree, all these students stream past one at a time and they go and shake the hand of Sir Tom Allen, the Chancellor, and get their degree. And I sort of thought myself back there when I was 21 getting my degree and all the stuff that's happened since, and realising how grateful I am to the university. I thought, thank you very much indeed. What a great place.